Picture this. Everyone around you pulls out their phone to film the sunset, and there's one person just standing there, actually watching it with their eyes. No posting, no stories, no, "Did you see what I just shared?" And here's what's wild. Everyone else looks at that person like they're broken, like they missed the point. Like, how do you even exist without documenting it? But what if they're not broken? What if they figured something out that the other 4.9 billion of us completely missed? Because in 2026, choosing not to use social media isn't just unusual, it's practically a radical act. And the science behind why some people make that choice, and why they seem genuinely happier for it, is a lot more interesting than you'd think. Here's the thing nobody tells you about social media. It wasn't built to connect you. It was built by people who studied behavioral psychology to be as addictive as possible. Every like, every comment, every notification, that's dopamine, the same chemical behind chocolate, gambling, and video games. The platforms know this. They didn't stumble onto it by accident. They designed it this way, deliberately, and then they optimized it over years until they got really, really good at it. Think about the pull to refresh gesture. That's a slot machine. You already knew that on some level, but knowing it doesn't make it less effective because it's not targeting your logic, it's targeting your biology. But the people who opt out, they're not immune to dopamine. They just get it differently. From finishing a book, from a real conversation, from the work itself, the satisfaction of making something without immediately needing someone to validate it. Psychologists call this intrinsic motivation. You don't need 200 strangers to approve of your vacation to feel like it was worth taking. The experience is enough. And once you've internalized that, once you can generate that sense of meaning from within, the entire pull of social media just loses its grip. Let's talk about what constant scrolling actually does to your head. Every time you swipe, you're training your brain to crave novelty every few seconds. Short hit, next hit, short hit, next hit. You're not relaxing, you're conditioning yourself to be incapable of stillness. There's brain imaging research on this. Heavy social media users show decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for focus, decision-making, and impulse control. The more you use it, the harder it becomes to do the things that actually require your full attention. People who stay off it, they can read for an hour without reaching for their phone. They can sit with a single thought long enough to actually develop it. That's not a small thing. In a world of shrinking attention spans, that's a superpower. And then there's comparison. Every time you scroll, you're unconsciously measuring your real life against everyone else's highlight reel. Your behind the scenes, your Tuesday morning, your unresolved problems, your unmade bed, versus their most edited, filtered, perfectly curated moments. And you always lose that comparison. Always. Because you're the only one seeing your own raw footage. A University of Pennsylvania study found that cutting social media to just 30 minutes a day significantly reduced depression and loneliness. People who quit entirely even lower anxiety, higher life satisfaction, because they're not playing a game they can never win. They just opted out entirely. And when you stop playing, you stop losing. Now here's where I want to be real with you. Some people avoid social media for the right reasons. They looked at it clearly, decided it wasn't adding value to their life, and walked away. That's a conscious choice made from a place of self-awareness. But some people avoid it because they're hiding, scared of being seen, scared of judgment, scared that if they put themselves out there, the response won't be good enough, or there won't be any response at all. That's not freedom. That's fear dressed up as principle. There's a real difference between saying, "I don't need this," and saying, "I can't handle this." One is power, the other is self-protection pretending to be wisdom. So the question worth sitting with is, are you off it because it genuinely doesn't serve you? Or are you avoiding it because some part of you is afraid of what might happen if you actually showed up? That distinction matters, because if it's fear, that's worth looking at. Not to go back to social media necessarily, but because fear that keeps you small in one area usually shows up in others too. Most people who make the choice consciously, though, they don't wrestle with that question. They already know the answer. The average person spends 2.5 hours a day on social media. Do the math. That's over 900 hours a year, 38 full days of your life, every single year spent scrolling through other people's carefully constructed versions of their lives instead of building your own. People who don't use it get those 38 days back. And what do they do with them? They read, they create, they think without an audience. They exist in moments without immediately converting those moments into content. Something else happens too. Their real-world relationships get stronger, not more relationships, deeper ones, because they're not spreading their social energy across 500 acquaintances they haven't actually spoken to in years. They're present. When they're with you, they're actually with you. Psychologists have a name for what most of us experience: continuous partial attention. You're never fully anywhere. One eye on the moment, one eye on your phone, one part of your brain already composing the caption. People who've stepped away from social media have escaped that trap entirely. There's a creativity effect too. Writers, artists, and creators who take extended breaks from social media say the same thing. Their work gets better. Not immediately. There's often a period of withdrawal, of not knowing what to make without the feedback loop. But on the other side of that, they stop creating for the algorithm and start creating for themselves again. And here's something that sounds almost too simple. Studies show that when you're constantly documenting moments to share them, you actually remember them less clearly. Because your brain is in performance mode, not presence mode. You're not living the moment, you're producing it. People who don't use social media are building actual memories, not content. Here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Social media is specifically engineered to make you feel inadequate and then offer you the cure. The algorithm isn't showing you what's interesting. It's showing you what makes you feel something. Usually envy, usually outrage, usually the quiet, nagging sense that everyone else is living more fully than you are. People who opt out have removed themselves from a system built to make them feel small. And here's what happens when you stop being constantly told you're not enough. You start to believe that you are. Without the perfect photo, without the witty caption, without the carefully constructed digital persona, you're just a person living your life, and that's allowed to be enough. That's not missing out. That's the whole point. So if this resonated, whether you're thinking about stepping back, or you already have, or you're just starting to notice the weight of it, just know this: you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to spend your attention. Your attention is the most valuable thing you own. Guard it like it is. And in a world where everyone is performing their existence for an audience that's barely watching, actually living might be the most radical thing you can do.